Emily Thompson had always cherished her peaceful suburban life in Willow Creek. Tucked within a quiet neighborhood, framed by maple trees and blooming gardens, her home felt like a safe haven for both her and her husband Daniel. Life flowed gently, calm, steady, and familiar, yet that tranquility was often broken by Daniel's frequent business trips, leaving Emily alone in their warm, sunlit house. That particular spring morning, she sat on her porch with a steaming cup of coffee in hand, listening to the soft chorus of birds as sunlight spilled across the neatly trimmed lawns. With Daniel away for the week, the silence felt comforting rather than lonely. She loved these moments, rare chances to unwind, read without interruption, and simply breathe without the weight of daily routines. As she flipped a page of her magazine, a familiar figure caught her attention. Ryan Mitchell, the teenage son of her next-door neighbors, was walking down the street. Usually calm and cheerful, Ryan was known for his polite manners and willingness to help anyone in need. But today, something was different. His face was tense, his steps hurried, and his hands gripped the straps of his backpack tightly. Setting her cup aside, Emily raised a hand and called out warmly, "Good morning, Ryan. Everything okay?" The boy hesitated, eyes darting toward the ground before he spoke. "Hi, Mrs. Thompson. I was wondering if you could help me with something." Sensing his unease, Emily gestured to the porch swing beside her. "Of course, come sit down and tell me what's wrong." Ryan sat, fidgeting with his hands, his voice trembling slightly. "It's my little brother, Max. He got his foot stuck in a storm drain this morning while we were playing outside. I tried to pull him out, but I couldn't. I didn't want to bother my parents since they're busy with work, and I thought, maybe you could help me." Emily's heart softened instantly. She had always admired Ryan's maturity and care for his family. "Oh, Ryan," she said gently, "I'm so glad you came to me. Emily offered him a calm smile. "Don't worry, Ryan. We'll figure this out together. Could you run home and grab a small toolbox? I think we might need some tools to lift the grate." Without hesitation, Ryan sprinted off and returned minutes later, panting but determined, toolbox in hand. Together, they managed to lift the heavy metal grate just enough for Max to pull his foot free. To Emily's relief, the boy wasn't hurt at all, just shaken. Max threw his arms around her waist. "Thank you, Mrs. Thompson," he sniffled. Emily smiled and turned to Ryan. "You stayed calm and did exactly what you needed to do. You're a wonderful big brother." Ryan's cheeks turned a deep shade of pink. "I just didn't know who else to ask. Thank you for helping too." Once she was sure Max was okay, Emily invited both boys to her house for snacks and juice. They sat around her kitchen table, laughing between bites of cookies and sharing stories about their week. For the first time in a long while, Emily felt something she hadn't in years, a lightness that filled the quiet spaces of her home. Over the following days, Ryan began stopping by more often. He'd help carry groceries, fix small things around the house, even mow the lawn without being asked. Emily was touched by his kindness and found herself enjoying his company far more than she'd expected. There was a rare maturity about him, a quiet reliability that reminded her of the steadiness she often missed when Daniel was away. One late afternoon, as she prepared dinner, Emily noticed Ryan had taken it upon himself to organize her pantry. Every jar, can, and container was lined up perfectly in neat rows. "Wow, Ryan," she said with a smile, genuinely impressed. "You really have an eye for organization." He gave a modest shrug. "I just thought it might make things easier for you," he said softly, his tone sincere. Emily felt a surge of gratitude. It had been a long time since someone had gone out of their way to help her, without expecting anything in return. Over the weeks that followed, their friendship grew naturally. They exchanged stories about their childhoods, debated over which local coffee shop made the best cappuccino, and often found themselves laughing at the smallest neighborhood mishaps. Ryan's visits brought warmth into Emily's quiet days, replacing the silence with a gentle sense of companionship she hadn't realized she'd been missing. One rainy afternoon, a sudden thunderclap shook the house and the lights went out. Emily sighed, fumbling around for candles, when a soft knock echoed at her door. Opening it, she found Ryan standing there, holding a flashlight in one hand and a board game under his arm. "Thought you might need some company," he said, with a small grin. "And maybe something to do while it's dark." Emily couldn't help but smile. "You're an absolute lifesaver. Come on in." They spent the evening seated at her kitchen table, the flickering candlelight casting soft shadows on the walls. Between laughter, stories, and the steady sound of rain tapping the windows, Emily realized something important. Even when Daniel was away, she wasn't truly alone. There were still good, caring people who brought light into her life in unexpected ways. The next morning, her phone rang. It was Daniel checking in from his trip, his voice laced with concern. She told him about the storm, the power outage, and how Ryan had stopped by to keep her company. Daniel chuckled over the line. "Sounds like you had quite the adventure. I'm just glad you're safe. Tell Ryan I appreciate him looking out for you." From then on, Ryan became a regular part of Emily's days. Their friendship remained pure and genuine, a wholesome bond built on respect and kindness. He continued helping her around the house, joining her for coffee now and then, and even encouraged her to pick up old hobbies she'd set aside. Emily often found herself reflecting on how grateful she was for his presence. Sometimes, she thought, the most meaningful friendships bloom in the most unexpected ways. One bright afternoon, Ryan's parents dropped by, smiling warmly as they stood on her porch. "We just wanted to thank you for always looking out for our boys," Ryan's mother said. Emily returned the smile, her heart full. "It's nothing at all. You've raised wonderful kids, and Max is lucky to have such a caring big brother like Ryan." Ryan looked down shyly, his cheeks turning a soft shade of pink. "Thanks, Mrs. Thompson," he murmured with a bashful grin. "Thompson, you're really nice too," Ryan said shyly, his smile warm and genuine. By the time Daniel returned from his trip, Emily carried within her a deep sense of gratitude for everything that had unfolded over the past week. Life, she realized, had a beautiful way of surprising her. Not with grand gestures or dramatic turns, but with small heartwarming moments that made her days feel fuller. Unexpected friendships, like the one she shared with Ryan, had brought a new light into her quiet world. In the days that followed, Emily often found herself reflecting on that week. She and Ryan continued to share stories, laugh together, and enjoy simple adventures around the neighborhood. Their bond remained pure and comforting, a gentle reminder that some of life's most meaningful connections bloom unexpectedly, whether it was helping Max out of the storm drain, organizing the pantry, or playing board games during a thunderstorm. Ryan's presence reminded Emily of the quiet beauty of compassion. It became a lesson she would carry with her long after Daniel's return. That kindness, no matter how small, has the power to change lives. In the peaceful town of Willow Creek, Emily discovered that the most memorable stories aren't always filled with excitement or drama. Sometimes, the true magic lies in the soft, unspoken moments, the shared smiles, the simple acts of help, and the friendships that grow in the background of ordinary days. Over time, Emily became more confident, more connected to her community, and more aware of the quiet joys surrounding her. She and Ryan developed a steady friendship built on trust and respect, a wholesome reminder that empathy and warmth can flourish even in the simplest circumstances. She came to understand that life didn't have to be extraordinary to be meaningful. A helping hand, a shared laugh, or a kind word could be enough to make a moment unforgettable. And so, in Willow Creek, the story of Emily and Ryan lived on. A quiet, touching tale of friendship, gratitude, and human connection. Even after Daniel's return, Emily often looked back on that week with fondness. The time she spent with Ryan and Max reminded her that the best stories aren't always planned. They're the ones that arrive softly, when we least expect them, and leave a lasting mark on our hearts. And so, life continued in Willow Creek, with gentle sunrises, rainy afternoons, and the kind of friendships that could brighten even the quietest of days.